Welcome back everybody, my name is Gammatrap, one word, and this is my free metal tutorial series. I cover a different type and texture of metal in each video, so make sure to watch them all for the most comprehensive understanding of the topic. Also, leaving a comment and then watching the next video in the line really tells YouTube that I'm doing a good job. So if you want to support my channel and encourage me to keep making these videos, that's one great way to do it. So thank you so much, and let's get started. Okay, so now we're going to work on a sphere of iron. Right now, first one we did was a cube of iron, and now we are doing a more like a ball, and that's specifically to show how the colors and light work on metal, specifically the iron type of texture of metal, you know, kind of brittle, kind of cracked, a little bit of rust, you know, not very polished, not very shiny, not very reflective, just kind of a dark metal of some kind, you know. So we're gonna be doing a sphere and working on how the light works around it and how the reflections, what reflections there are, how that works with iron. We first did this cube here, and as you can see, iron is sort of like a combination of stone and steel. That's the best way to like mentally think about it. Like it sits in a nice little middle ground of like stone with like the crackallure, or you know, cracks and chipping, as well as the sort of basic reflectivity and solidity of steel, you know, very, very tough, very dense material, very heavy. Now to do this, all we're gonna do is make a circle to start with. It's gonna be slightly indented into this pedestal here. So I'm thinking if we hold down Alt and Shift at the same time, we'll have a perfect circle no matter how we move it. Alt keeps it positioned in the middle, or keeps the middle of the circle in the same spot, no matter where our cursor is. And Shift keeps it into a perfect circle formation. And so if it was sitting perfectly in the middle, it'd be right there, but we're gonna have it inside the dirt a little bit, so we're gonna make it a little bigger. And now we're gonna grab a sort of a middle color. We're gonna put it on in there real quick, and we're gonna deselect. Now let's make a mask, a regular mask. So it's this down here, this little square with a little dot cut out in the bottom right of the screen is our mask tool. So with the mask, this little box here selected, we're gonna make sure black is our color, and we're gonna do hard brush. And the cool thing about masks is no matter where we paint, it sort of acts as an eraser. And if we hit X, you'll notice over here the color is gonna change to white, and that brings it back. So it's like a non-destructive eraser. Masking is very cool, not to be confused with a clipping mask, slightly different, and we'll do that in a minute. But first, regular mask. So we're gonna sort of cut in to this sphere a little bit, and make it look like it's sort of dug into the earth a little bit. Now we'll do grass and stuff a little later, but it's good to have a little bit of variety just in case. And now let's actually lower this down a little bit more too. Now we're gonna make a new layer right above our base layer. We're gonna right click it and create clipping mask. Now this is what you probably were thinking of. That's where if you paint anywhere, it can only show up on, you know, on top of the layer that it's masked to. Now, round, very round. We don't need hard brush just yet. For the majority of this basic part, we're just gonna use our soft brush. And we use pretty much only two brushes in these tutorials. There's hard round pressure opacity and soft round pressure opacity. The soft round pressure opacity, as you can assume, makes very soft brushing, whereas the hard one has hard edges, hard lines. Now, every program has its own iteration, own version of these brushes. If you don't know if you have a program that's not Photoshop and you don't know what the name of the soft or hard brush is, check the comments. And if y'all in the comments know what Kreida's hard round brush or soft round brush is called, or Procreate's, because they all might have different names, feel free to help people out if you don't mind. Now, in these tutorials, we also like our light source coming from the top left, coming down to the bottom right. So let's start on these hard surfaces. We're gonna get our basic sort of cool color here, and very gently put a little bit of light on the top left of the sphere. Now let's grab our dark color and put it in the bottom right. Now the spheres, to show their the 3D object, it's not going to be just like this. It can, depending how far away and how wide this sphere is, like a planet, but this is not a planet. So it's gonna have more U shape, and it's gonna be kind of hard and dark right in the far bottom, but it's gonna very gently turn into other colors, other shades, closer up near the edge. Now, iron is a pretty dark metal anyway. So we're gonna have it nice and dark for a bit. Let's get a warm color because there is a bit of rust content, and iron itself can be pretty red and orange. We're just gonna throw a bit of that in here. Now let's have our lighter color. Now with iron, it's not gonna be very reflective in terms of like, it's not gonna show a pure white dot in representation of like the sun. So with steel, we would have, you know, very reflective, you know, very bright reflections. But this is iron. So most of its reflections are gonna be pretty loose, pretty not very bright. And iron's pretty brittle. I think I might want to have a darker color than this too. So let's grab, if we so dare, maybe, no, we'll keep it cool. Keep a cool dark. Like that. Let's add a new one. Get the hard brush real quick. Add a new dark color. Nice. Back to soft brush. And with our new dark color, let's actually make the bottom area a little darker. Because when you have a nice combination of like bright areas and dark areas on a piece of metal or wood or stone or any material, it adds a little extra, just a little touch extra richness to the piece. It really helps sell the idea that it's a 3D thing that has some like real opaque shadows. Kind of like show. Now, for kicks and gigs, let's add a cool bit of light up here. Gonna blend that in a bit. And by blending, when I say that, for those who this might be your first video, I'm sorry if it gets old for some people who've been here for a while. We're gonna hold down Alt or Option on a Mac. In our brush tool, we're gonna hold it down, and you're gonna see a little eyedropper tool. This lets us pick a color that's already on the screen. So if we pick that color, we can then paint with it. So when I say color pick or blend, this is usually what I'm doing. I'm grabbing this color, pushing it into this one, grabbing that color, pushing it back into that kind of stuff. Let's have a little bit more warmth down here, I think. And we're gonna blend this kind of gently. All right, that's our basic colors. Now we're gonna add a bit of green, because even though it's not very reflective, iron is still a little reflective. So in the bottom section here, we're gonna have some green because it's sitting on a green pedestal. If it was sitting on a red pedestal or a blue pedestal, make sure this is not green for you. Make sure it's blue or red, depending on, you know, the type of pedestal it is. This is the reflectivity part. Iron's not that reflective compared to steel or polished stuff like chrome or silver. We will get to that one, but for now, this is pretty much as reflective as it's gonna get. We can even push a little bit of it back, in fact. And now the fun part about iron is it likes to flake. It likes to crack, and it's really fun to have like a sort of hammered in look. And the way we do that is we add little indentions, little grooves, to make it look like it's got little planes in it where a hammer struck it to sort of try and make it into this shape. And the easiest way to do that is to grab a kind of a darker color, go up to a slightly lighter area, put a little dot in there, and then grabbing the color nearby and painting inside it, but not completely painting over it. You'll end up with this really fun little groove. And you can even go a step further and go a lighter color and kind of put a little bit of attention to the bottom of the groove. And now you be very careful with this because it can get out of hand real fast. So you nice and gentle touch. Otherwise the illusion is ruined. Now, one of the rules of stylized work is don't be boring, meaning don't have the same shapes in a predictable pattern. Right now, we've got dot, 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 dot. It's getting kind of predictable, so let's change it up a little bit. So let's change the size of our brush and do kind of a different take, like that. Good so far. Good so far. Cool. All right, now let's get our hard brush, and we're gonna just very gently add a couple cracks just for kicks. It's hard to do some serious good work, good like cracking on metal, but we could try our best. When you're making a crack on a piece of metal, you need to make sure it bends with the metal. So if it's a corner, the crack's gonna look like that. But this is a bend, so our cracks and our divots are gonna be curved. And they're going to behave as the rest of metal does. And if this is your first metal tutorial video of mine that you're seeing, make sure you check out the other ones because they go way more in depth about all this stuff, about lighting, about how the cracks and stuff work. Might be really helpful. And like honestly, we could be done right now. This could be it. That's honestly that's it. base metal done. Now let's make it blend in with the rest of the environment real quick. All you have to do for that one is make a new layer. It's gonna be our grass. Hard round brush. Turn our pressure on so we can make it look like so it thins out. Because the harder you press, the wider it is, and the thinner you press, the thinner it is. Now we're going to make a new layer, multiply. This is for our shadows of the environment. Keep a soft brush, turn pressure off, make it kind of big. We're going to grab a cooler color. And because our light source is coming from top left going to the right, we're just going to add a bit of a shadow down here. A little bit of extra credit. Like I said, the spheres are the easiest type of metal you can really do. You're gonna love or hate me for the more shiny versions, the more shiny metal, because it's gonna be like, all right, ball, reflection, that's it. Good job, you did it. All right, woo, good you go. Nice, easy. Look at that. That ain't bad. That's your iron ball. Very simple. A lot of warm and cool colors, but mostly grays, and it's opaque, and it's got a nice little dark section down there, and it's got a light section, but not too bright because it's not very reflective. So it's not going to reflect like pure white. It's just going to be kind of like a lighter yellow, almost a tan, in fact. Either way, next is going to be steel, like a steel ball, like a brushed metal ball. There we go. So it's going to be a little more reflective, and it's going to be, yeah, maybe a slightly different texture to it, but not too much, not too different. Hope you found this video useful, helpful, or entertaining. Leave a like if you liked it, a dislike if you dislike it, subscribe to see more, and thank you so much to my amazing patrons. I appreciate the ever-loving out of you for supporting the ever-loving out of me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.